Good morning, Pinckney Pirates. And today is Friday, March 5th. And welcome to the weekly update provided by the Rick Todd bobblehead. And I thought it would be just a little different twist today that instead of seeing the real live me, that you would see a nice little gift that somebody sent to me in appreciation of something that I did back in October. But um, I won't let you sit here and stare at the Rick Todd bobblehead, but I just thought it was kind of a cute way to start this week's message. They did a great job, although everybody's very quick to let me know that there's too much hair on this bobblehead. And from my perspective, they didn't include the COVID-15 that I've put on in this past year. But other than that, did a great job getting the gray hairs in my chin, if you can see it up close, and also providing the Pinckney black and red. And so. But welcome. Thank you for joining me. And I'll slide over here to the screen and get rid of this guy because you definitely don't want to stare at him the whole time. And I'm not sure if you want to even look at me, but we'll go ahead with our daily update for this week. Let me get my camera a little bit adjusted here. But so thank you. As I stated, today is March 5th, 2021. And it's a great time of year. Spring is definitely not officially here, but it feels like it. We see the sunlight when we get to work in the morning. It's definitely light when we go home. And even though we're going to turn our clocks back next week, that's the 14th of March, definitely nice energy, positive energy that we're feeling. It's just a great time of year. And we'll be closing out the third quarter here shortly and starting our last quarter of the school year, which is really hard to believe. And once again, I appreciate you hanging in there throughout the many weekly updates. I'm trying to keep them very focused and short, go with under 10 minutes. But I do, as long as we're in this COVID kind of protocol, continue to provide these updates, even if they're short. In the future, not something that I think I need to do on a weekly basis, but I think at least once a month, if not twice a month, or as needed. I think it's important to be able to have an opportunity to talk with you and to hear me personally, and continue that relationship and that connection that we have throughout the school community and the community abroad. So thanks again for joining us. I'll start with just a quick COVID update. Things have actually been pretty quiet until just recently. This week, we've had a little bit of a surge with our COVID cases, and I'll go in a little more detail here in just a second. But we had a case at the high school. It was actually a parent volunteer that was diagnosed as COVID positive, and so working with that situation. We've had a student at Pathfinder School just a couple days ago. We were informed that the individual was COVID positive. And at Navigator, unfortunately, we were working with this situation just yesterday. That was Thursday. We have 3 students, all in the same class, that are COVID positive. And I'm sure if you're like me, you're thinking, as soon as you think of same class, there's an outbreak in a class. That's kind of a natural thought. That was my first thought. But after we dig in and we do some contact tracing, we get some history and working in partnership with the Livingston County Health Department, we are confident that this specific situation is directly connected to a social event that happened this previous weekend with students. That was a prolonged activity, I'm sure. I know when students get together socially, whether it's in a hotel or it's in a home, they're not wearing masks, and we're confident that this is where the transmission occurred, because I think there's even adults that have been impacted by this as well. And so, as an extra step of precaution, though, we did end up just quarantining the whole class. We just want to ensure that we can ensure everybody's safety as we move forward, the teachers included, and we're going to be moving forward with that situation. So, along those lines, I know I've said this before, and I know you're probably getting tired of hearing it, but even though we are kind of on a different stage of this process, I think we're on the latter end, and I'll talk about vaccines in just a second. We have to stay diligent, and we're doing a great job. And I'll talk about that as well, just throughout this entire school year. But we can't let up. These situations are still going to impact us here, regardless of what's happening outside in our county, in our state, and throughout this country. Is that decisions we're making as adults are going to impact, and there's still social events, and we're seeing these things impact entire 2 classrooms here. It actually has residual effect, because now we have siblings who are involved in basketball at the high school. We had to cancel a basketball game due to this. So they have domino effects, and they have ripple effects, and there's not a whole lot we can do. We have to respond to that, and those are things outside our control. We're still seeing where we have students coming to school that are exhibiting symptoms, and still having students who've been tested and they're still coming to school, and then they're positive, and then we have to deal with the fallout of that. There's many layers to this, and I know that we want our kids involved. We want them to be socially active. We want them to be in school. Speaking of a parent of 4 kids, I get it, but we still have to make sure we're making the right choices, and making smart choices with our students, and limiting the access in a social setting, especially without masks, because these things are still going to happen, and our kids aren't vaccinated. We're hoping that starting in the fall that's going to happen, but for right now, this is something we're going to have to deal with, and I'm sure we're still going to deal with it when school starts next year. We're going to have kids who are COVID positive, and we're going to have to respond to that, regardless if the adults are vaccinated or not. So I continue to offer my plea to work with us, help support everything we've done here. I think we're continuing to do a good job here, but we have to respond to what's happening outside our school community, and doesn't always have positive ramifications. Often there are negative ramifications that are impacting many individuals along the way. So along those lines, here in Livingston County, the rate of infection is 5.2%. It's actually gone up a little bit. You're starting to hear some of the trends starting to that decrease that we were seeing kind of plateaued and actually coming up a little bit. And I'm sure we're going to see the impact of what we're feeling here this week in those numbers next week. So hopefully they don't go up too much, and we continue on this track, and things continue moving in the right direction, and at least kind of plateauing. We definitely don't want to see another spike in this community or in this county. In terms of vaccines, I'm very proud to say that Pinckney Community Schools has a high percentage of our employees that have received the vaccines, and even the second dose of vaccine. Last Saturday at Howell High School, over 750 individuals received their second dose of the Moderna vaccine. 111 staff members here in Pinckney Schools received their second dose. That's the highest number in the county in terms of the 5 school districts, and actually the highest percentage of the staff. I don't have the exact numbers of how many staff members are vaccinated, because not everybody's going through the health department's process. They may, once again, live outside Livingston County, Oakland County, Washington County, Ingham County, and that's where they're getting their vaccine. I don't have those numbers, but total, we have 1,400 educators within Livingston County who have received at least 1 dose of their vaccine, and we're slated to have 1,600, and we're hoping that process will be concluded within the next week, that all 1,600 individuals who have signed up to receive it will at least be on that path. And so that's exciting news. I definitely, you can see kind of the weight being lifted off some shoulders, and it opens up some doors as we continue to move forward for the rest of the school year and for the upcoming school year, which is something that we're working hard to get ready and plan for. So good news along those fronts. And what I also just want to state that, we're hearing the news constantly about the schools starting to reopen their doors and offer face-to-face instruction, in part to the governor's March 1st kind of target to do so. And I can't help but be honest, say, hey, you know what? I get a little jaded, a little resentful, because there's not a whole lot of press or people recognizing what we've been able to accomplish here in Pinckney Community Schools in Livingston County. We can never lose sight of what we have accomplished and what we continue to accomplish by offering face-to-face education to our students, the PVA experience to our students, since September 8th, since the first day of school, that we didn't have to kind of like change gears here in March, because that's really challenging, that's difficult to do. And I don't want us to lose sight of what we've been able to do. It's very easy. We're ingrained in it. It's kind of what we do. It's like no big deal. Up to this point, we kind of roll with the punches. But as you can see, it's not the same in other communities. And we need to be proud of that. We need to make sure people know that. I have shared this story with anybody I could, whether it's I've jumped on a radio show in the morning to talk, or I have sent things to our local legislative leaders, Alan Bowen, Lana Tice, Bob Bizat, to make sure that they're aware that what we've accomplished here in Livingston County, and continue to do so and will continue to do so, is nothing short of amazing, and needs to be recognized. And I do hope that if you're in your workplace and you're connected with family members or those outside, that you tell the story of Pinckney Community Schools, and you share what our teachers have done and continue to do, and all our staff members, our custodians and our bus drivers and our support staff. It's once again, it's something that it's a great story, and it's just not being told, I think, enough. What you hear is about the schools that are just thinking about coming back face to face, but we've done an amazing job, and we're going to continue to do so. That's why I just continue to plead to work with us, because we still got a lot of work to do. We're committed to doing it. We're going to do it, but we need to continue to work together. And so I'd like to just end by acknowledging a couple folks who have been instrumental to us throughout the many years and decades who have just recently retired. And I'd just like to start with Denise Brigiac, who's been a custodian here, just a valuable member of our custodial maintenance team for over 20 plus years, going back to at least 1997. I know that it could have been a little prior to that as well. But Denise has been just a valuable employee, has been committed to helping keep our schools safe, clean, a great place for our students to learn and for our staff to work. And just last week, a week ago today, she had changed courses in her life and is retired and is now going to live the retirement life. And so we just want to say thank you to Denise for all you've done for our students and for our staff and for our community in your many years of service. In addition, this week I've got an official notice of retirement. We knew this was coming, but it wasn't made public, and I'll do that now. Long-standing Pinckney teacher, Pinckney resident, and also just a Pinckney graduate is Sue Ruggles. Sue Ruggles is our most senior teacher. I believe it's 37 plus years, going back to, I think, 1984. She was hired in, and Sue has chosen to use this opportunity in life to once again just spend more time with her family, do the things that she wants to do. Sue started teaching elementary school way back in Hamburg Elementary, and after we had to close that building, moved to Lakeland Elementary, and then has finished up at Farley. And Sue is one of my oldest son, I believe, is fourth grade teacher, and she's an amazing job. And even after 37 years, and I shared this with Sue earlier this week, is that the one thing I respect is that her passion, her energy, and her love for teaching never waned. It never diminished, and that's just a tribute. And she goes out on top, and that's the way it should be. She wasn't, to the point where she was frustrated and discouraged. It was a really hard choice for her, but I just kudos to Sue to everything she's done for hundreds, if not thousands, of students and families here. She's been part of our Pinckney family, as I shared once again. She's always going to be part of our Pinckney family. Graduated from Pinckney Community High School many years ago, and just so committed to us and loves this district. So thank you to both Denise and to Sue. Just wanted to wish them all the best, and thank you for shining the brightest light on Pinckney Community Schools. You truly represent what makes us so special. So on that note, I want to say have a great weekend. Let's enjoy this great weather. Let's continue to stay safe. It's great to be outside. It's great to see our kids out on their bikes, after school and practices. And as we move forward, opening up and providing more opportunities for just activities and for our students. So thank you once again. Thank you for let me have a little bit of fun in the beginning with my Rick Todd bobblehead. And once again, it's a great place to work. We have a lot of fun here at Pinckney Community Schools, but it's also we're dedicated to a lot of hard work to help our kids move forward and to keep them safe. So have a great weekend. Take care. We'll talk to you again next week.